Buju, wago shindagu migizi indodem, gazaga squaji mekag, indunjaba. I'd like to take a couple of minutes today to share a powerful lesson that I learned about healing in my efforts to come to terms with my father's family history and its legacy for me and for my children. My mother is Native American from Leech Lake, born and raised on the Leech Lake Reservation in Bena. My father, however, was born and raised in Vienna, Austria. And his father and his mother had deep roots in the German-speaking world. My grandfather, Fritz Treuer, was a Sephardic Jew whose family had been living in Austria for a very long time. My grandmother, Mia Treuer, was living in the German-speaking part of Czechoslovakia prior to meeting my grandfather and setting roots and making a life in Vienna. My grandfather had served in the Austrian army in World War I. But when the Nazis took over after the Anschluss in 1938, my dad watched as SS soldiers held a gun to his mother's head and made her scrub the streets. He had to run for his life from Hitler Youth who were chasing him with knives. My grandfather was taken as a prisoner and received a hernia operation with no pain medications whatsoever. And some months later, after watching these and many other experiences, compulsory divorces between Christians and Jews, my grandmother found a way to get my dad and make a run for it across the Belgian border into Allied territory, England, and a year later to America. Sometime later, my grandfather was able to escape from Nazi control, join them in England, and accompany them on the trip to America. We had two cousins who also survived. One was sent out in a kinder transport and survived the war while in the protection of people at a Scottish Catholic convent. And another hiked through Europe and made it to Israel. There, when it was still Palestine, their ship shelled and then boarded by the British, but eventually made it on shore and survived. That was it for our family. We had two other family members, my grandfather's brother and his wife, who made it out. Of all those people, my father was the only one who ended up having grandchildren, and in some ways was the last of his line. It's been a remarkable recovery for our family since then. At the time of his passing, he had 26 grandchildren. I accompanied my dad on his first trip back to Austria after World War II, and that was in 1986. My dad was having a tough time during that trip, overwhelmed with emotion, and I think having a close relationship with him, was also feeling a lot of things, mainly feeling a lot of anger and a lot of hurt, more deeply aware of the injustice of the entire Holocaust and everything that the Nazis stood for and did. And I didn't go back to Austria again until just this past summer, when I took my children and brought them there. And it was a powerful experience for all of us. I was able to see the country with fresh eyes and a new perspective. And I took my children around. We showed them the school where my father had attended for elementary school, which was still there, intact and much unchanged. We showed them the Karl Marx Hof, which my grandfather and other socialists had occupied after the fascist takeover in Austria in 1934. We visited my grandfather's house, which was still there, remodeled but intact, and my grandfather's store, even the family's vacation property, all of which was still there, but of course confiscated and given to Aryans. These things probably should have been part of an inheritance that I would be able to give to my children. We also visited Mauthausen concentration camp, and when we went to Germany, we also visited Dachau. I think at the same time that we did these things, we traveled the country. We looked at the splendor of the Austrian Alps, the beauty of the lakes around Hallstatt and Badaussee, and of course, lots of other touristy things. We have some good friends who are Austrian academics, husband and wife, who took us into their house and took us hiking on the Austrian-Italian border, a big highlight for the kids. They're wonderful people, and I think maybe this was a big highlight for my own children, just having an adventure experience with them. They were sharing with us that almost everyone in Austria has at least one grandparent who was a Nazi. But for them, all of their grandparents were Nazis. And for the man, Thomas, his grandparents were unrepentant Nazis. They never felt that the Nazis did anything wrong. He was proud to say that none of their grandchildren carried the same views. And for us, they were kind, welcoming, generous with their time and everything else. And it helped me and our children see things in a different way. We could see the beauty of Austria, but also the beauty of the Austrian people. Look at this history in a different light, and have eyes wide open to everything that they did to our family and the world. Healing and forgiving is not simply about saying what happened in the past is okay or something like that. It's saying what happened in the past cannot be changed, and we accept that it happened. And for me, being able to see Austria and the Austrian people, not just in simple terms of judgment, the bad guys, but to see their beauty and vulnerability and contributions to our family and the world, as well as the things they did to devastate our family and the world, provided a more honest and nuanced understanding, where I could say that I love Austria, that I love all the parts of me that came from there, that at the same time, my children felt a much deeper connection to place and that part of our history, and that the connection could be positive and painful at the same time, and that through this experience, through our friendships with people in Austria and our experience being there, that we found some significant measure of healing in rewriting the story of our connection to that place. Thanks for watching today. I'm Anton Treuer. Let's keep in touch. I'm active on social media, and my website has lots of information on my books, speaking engagements, resources for the Ojibwe language, teachers, and more. Miigwech.